Act 4, Scene 3, Godric's Hollow, 1981. How did they get there? I mean, I have no idea where Godric's Hollow is in relation to where they just were, but maybe even though the train was late, they were able to catch it anyway, even though they didn't seem to have any money on them. Whatever. Albus and Scorpius walk through the center of Godric's Hollow, and it's a bustling, beautiful little village. Scorpius: well, there's no visible signs of attack that I can see. Albus: this is Godric's Hollow? Scorpius: your dad's never taken you? Albus: no, he tried a few times, but I refused. I'm sorry, he's a little... I know he's got issues, but like, he's not... Okay, Harry is not the perfect father to him, but he's not the best son either. Like, he's not... He doesn't seem to be trying at all for... Like, Harry at least is trying to have a relationship with his child, but Albus just doesn't seem to care, so... Whatever. Scorpius: well, there's no time for a tour. We have a murderous witch to save the world from. But regard, the church, St. Jerome's... As he indicates, a church becomes visible. Albus: it's magnificent. Scorpius: and St. Jerome's graveyard is supposedly magnificently haunted. He points in another direction. And that's where the statue of Harry and his parents will be. Albus: my dad has a statue? Scorpius: not yet, but he will. Hopefully. And this house is where Bathilda Bagshot lives. Albus: the Bathilda Bagshot? A history of magic Bathilda Bagshot? Scorpius: the very same. Oh my, that's her. Wow, squeak. Oh my god. Wow, squeak, my geekiness is a-quivering. Albus: Scorpius? Scorpius: and here it is. Albus: the home of James, Lily, and Harry Potter. Oh wow, they're right there. Jeez, what? I thought they weren't supposed to leave the house. I'm confused. If this had been like earlier, like then before they started doing the Fidelius charm, but I thought like they were stuck in, I don't know. A young, attractive couple leave a house with a baby in a pushchair. Albus moves towards them. Scorpius pulls him back. Scorpius: they can't see you, Albus. It might damage time. And we're not doing that. Not this time. Albus: but this means we've made it. She hasn't... Scorpius: so what do we do now? Get ready to fight her? Because she's pretty fierce. Albus: yes, we haven't really thought this one through, have we? What do we do now? How do we protect my dad? Well, it's nice he wants to protect his dad. I don't know, I'm assuming that this little adventure will kind of just change his attitude toward his dad. But yeah, no, I don't know what they're going to do without wands. Like, I mean, well, like, I guess even if they had wands, I'm pretty sure she'd be able to outfight them. But I am really confused about the fact that James and Lily just walked out of their house. Like, what was the point of the Fidelius charm if they're just gonna, you know, go for a little stroll anyway? Like, because wasn't it, I don't know, I guess I don't know enough about how the charm works, but isn't it only their house that's protected? Like, you know, Voldemort could swoop down on them at the park or the grocery store or something, and that would be it. So, I don't know. Okay, now we're back to the others. Act 4, Scene 4, Ministry of Magic, Harry's office. Harry is hurriedly going through paperwork. Dumbledore: good evening, Harry. A beat. Harry looks up at the portrait of Dumbledore, his face passive. Harry: Professor Dumbledore in my office. I'm honored. I must be where the action is tonight? Dumbledore: what are you doing? Harry: going through papers, seeing if I've missed anything I shouldn't have. Marshalling forces to fight in the limited way we can fight, knowing the battle is being raged far away from us. What else can I do? Pause. Dumbledore says nothing. Where have you been, Dumbledore? Dumbledore: I'm here now. Harry: here just as the battle is lost, or are you denying that Voldemort is going to return? Dumbledore. It is possible. Harry. Go. Leave. I don't want you here. I don't need you. You were absent every... I mean, I know he's like, he's upset, obviously, because he's worried about his son. But, you don't need to be mean to Dumbledore. I thought you forgave him. Like, because in Deathly Hallows, he was very upset with Dumbledore for most of the book. And that was, like, one of the major plot points. But I think the point was that by the end, he forgave him. I mean, he named his child after him. So, you're supposed to have forgiven him anyway. Harry, go. Leave. I don't want you here. I don't need you. You were absent every time it really counted. I fought him 3 times without you. I'll face him again if needs be. Alone. I mean, also, what's Dumbledore supposed to do? He's a freaking portrait. Like, and as McGonagall said, it's still, the portrait is not the person. Even if we want it to be like, yeah, that was like what I was thinking about a lot, in the last books. Like, after Sirius died, Harry wanted him to come back as a ghost. But like, if they'd had a portrait of him, it still would have been nice. Like, he still could have talked to him and stuff. And all the others too. Like, wouldn't that be such a great way to memorialize someone you love, is to have them as a portrait, even though they're not completely there? You'd still be able to talk to them, get their advice and stuff, even if it's not the same thing, but it's better than nothing, I don't know. Dumbledore. Harry, don't you think I wanted to fight him on your behalf? I would have spared you if I could. Harry, love blinds us? Do you even know what that means? Do you even know how bad that advice was? My son is fighting battles for us, just as I had to fight for you, and I have proved as bad a father to him as you were to me. When was he ever your father? I guess, he was more of a grandfather than a father. I don't know, whatever. Leaving him in places he felt unloved, growing in him resentments he'll take years to understand. Dumbledore, if you're referring to Privet Drive, then, Harry, years I spent there alone, without knowing what I was or why I was there, without knowing that anybody cared. Dumbledore, I did not wish to become attached to you. Harry, protecting yourself, even then. Dumbledore, no, I was protecting you. I did not want to hurt you. Dumbledore attempts to reach out of the portrait, but he can't. Aww. He begins to cry, but tries to hide it. Dumbledore. But I had to meet you in the end. 11 years old, and you were so brave, so good. You walked uncomplainingly along the path that had been laid at your feet. Of course I loved you, and I knew that it would happen all over again. That where I loved, I would cause irreparable damage. Oh wow, this is very tough. I am no fit person to love. I have never loved without causing harm. That's really deep, and isn't that, I'm trying to think, isn't that kind of true for everyone? But that's, what a terrible thing to say about yourself. I am no fit person to love. I see what he means, obviously. I'm a little emotional about that. It's so sad. I am no fit person to love. I have never loved without causing harm. A beat. Harry, you would have hurt me less if you had told me this then. Dumbledore, openly weeping now. I was blind. That is what love does. I couldn't see that you needed to hear this closed-up, tricky, dangerous old man loved you. A pause. The two men are overcome with emotion. Harry, it isn't true that I never complained. Dumbledore, Harry, there is never a perfect answer in this messy, emotional world. Perfection is beyond the reach of humankind, beyond the reach of magic. And every shining moment of happiness is that drop of poison, the knowledge that pain will come again. Be honest to those you love, show your pain. To suffer is as human as to breathe. Harry, you said that to me once before. Dumbledore, it is all I have to offer you tonight. He begins to walk away. Harry, don't go. Dumbledore, those that we love never truly leave us, Harry. There are things There are things that death cannot touch. Paint and memory and love. Harry, I loved you too, Dumbledore. Dumbledore, I know. That was a little awkward, but I mean, it was sweet. But like, yeah, you never told him that. Of course, he never told you either. I mean, but it didn't need to be said. I mean, Harry knew, deep down. Hermione told him, at one point when he was like being difficult and not believing anything Dumbledore said and being angry at Dumbledore. Hermione pointed out that he loved him. And, Harry in that particular moment didn't believe it, but I think he knew. And Dumbledore did kind of tell him at the end of Order of the Phoenix. I don't think he used the word love. Well, he didn't say I love you, but I feel it's a little awkward. I don't know. But yeah, I guess that was a sweet moment. He is gone, and Harry is alone. Draco enters. I don't think they're going to exchange confessions of love. I'm going to predict that will not happen. Draco, did you know that in this other reality, the reality Scorpius saw into, I was head of magical law enforcement? Draco, what the heck? Maybe this room will be mine soon enough. Are you okay? Okay, those are two of the most contradictory sentences I ever heard. Is he trying to joke? Because it's not really funny. And this is not really, other than Voldemort, it's not really something to make light of. But also, are you okay? That's, when has he ever, the previous sentence was hinting, either joking or hinting that he wanted the other reality. Which would also involve Harry's death, and then he asks Harry if he's okay. Harry is consumed in his grief. Harry, come in, I'll give you the tour. Draco walks hesitantly inside the room. He looks around distastefully. Draco, the thing is though, never really fancied being a ministry man, even as a child. My dad, it's all he ever wanted. Me? No. Oh, I never knew that. Harry, what did you want to do? Draco, Quidditch. But I wasn't good enough. Mainly I wanted to be happy. Harry nods. Draco looks at him a second more. Sorry, I'm not very good at small talk. Do you mind if we skip on to the serious business? Harry, of course. What serious business? Let's just complicate things even more because they're not already complicated enough. B. Draco, do you think Theodore Nott had the only time turner? Harry, what? Draco, the time turner the Ministry seized was a prototype, made of inexpensive material. It does the job, sure, but only being able to go back in time for 5 minutes? That's a serious flaw. It isn't something you'd sell to true collectors of dark magic. Harry realizes what Draco is saying. Harry, he was working for you? Draco, no, my father. He liked owning things that no one else had. The Ministry's time turners, thanks to Croaker, were always a little vanilla for him. He wanted the ability to go back further than an hour. He wanted the ability to travel back years. He'd never have used it. Secretly, I think he preferred a world without Voldemort. But yes, the time turner was built for him. Okay, my mind is blown a little bit. I do like the acknowledgement that secretly I think he preferred a world without Voldemort, because I completely believe that's true. He was, he was still thought he was better than everyone else. When Voldemort was gone, and he was treated very highly. He was always friends with the minister and everything like that. And he was on the school board of governors for a while. But yeah, no. Once Voldemort came back, he was terrified. I mean, he'd screwed up obviously with the diary, and then other stuff as well. So Voldemort was never happy about him, but like, yeah, so he's always more threatened. And his family was too. I mean, that was like his only redeeming quality, in my opinion, the fact that all he, I mean, he had this, pure blood obsession thing, but when it came down to it, all that really mattered to him was the safety of his family. And him, and, that's something, like, I think, J.K. Rowling has said that, Uncle Vernon was, like, one of her least favorite characters or something like that, because, I don't know, just because of his attitude. And yeah, he was, mean, and he's never my favorite either, but, him and Lucius Malfoy, neither really great guys, but very similar in that, everything bad everything that they did that we don't agree with, it was all for their family. They love their wife and son more than anything and will go to any length to protect them, and that's what everything's really about. So I just, as much as I dislike them and disagree with what they've done, I have that little bit of respect for that. Anyway, but yeah, so this is interesting. But why is Draco waiting until now? Okay, all right. Let's finish this scene. This video is getting way too long, so I need to move things along. Oh, a very convenient time to Jesus, Draco. Harry, and did you keep it? Draco reveals the time turner. Draco, no 5-minute problem, and it gleams like gold, just the way the Malfoys like it. You're smiling. Harry, Hermione Granger. It was the reason she kept the first, the fear that there might be a second. Hanging on to this, you could have been sent to Azkaban. Draco, consider the alternative. Consider if people had known that I had the ability to travel in time. Consider the rumor that would have been given increased credence. Harry looks at Draco, understanding him perfectly. Harry, Scorpius. Oh, hold on, I need to know what happens. Draco, we were capable of having children, but Astoria was frail. A blood malediction, a serious one. An ancestor was cured. It showed up in her. You know how these things can resurface after generations. Harry, I'm sorry, Draco. Draco, I didn't want to risk her health. I said it didn't matter whether the Malfoy line died with me, whatever my father said. But Astoria, she didn't want a baby for the Malfoy name, for pure blood or glory, but for us. Our child Scorpius was born. It was the best day of both our lives, although it weakened Astoria considerably. We hid ourselves away, the three of us. I wanted to conserve her strength, and so the rumor started. Harry, I can't imagine what that was like. Draco, Astoria always knew that she was not destined for old age. She wanted me to have somebody when she left because it is exceptionally lonely being Draco Malfoy. I will always be suspected. There's no escaping the past. I never realized, though, that by hiding him away from this gossiping, judgmental world, I ensured that my son would emerge shrouded in worse suspicion than I ever endured. Harry, love blinds. We have both tried to give our sons not what they needed, but what we needed. We've been so busy trying to rewrite our own pasts, we've blighted their present. Draco, which is why you need this. I've been holding on to it, barely resisting using it, even though I would sell my soul for another minute with Astoria. Harry, oh, Draco, we can't use it. Draco looks up at Harry, and for the first time, at the bottom of this dreadful pit, they look at each other as friends. Draco, we have to find them. If it takes centuries, we must find our sons. Harry, we have no idea where they are or when they are. Searching in time when you've no idea where in time to search? That's a fool's errand. No, love won't do it, and nor will a time turner, I'm afraid. It's up to our sons now. They're the only ones who can save us.